So what stemmed from the last video in my mind about how complicated, how many variables can be added to a conversation due to terminology, implicit knowledge, you name it. I started thinking about associations. Um, and associations, I have many ways of meaning that. I mean, not just who you are associated with as a person or with, the type of people that you associate with, um, but like even words, terms. I was thinking that. Again, like people might associate money with happiness, and money may take happiness to a new level. It may take you from no happiness to some happiness, though it may not be eternal happiness, but they are not necessarily uh, codependent on one another. Like they don't necessarily need each other. They don't need each other to be like, you don't need to be happy to make money. You don't need to make money to be happy. But money can certainly help with the happiness. And maybe your happiness can lead you to making money. But I am not trained to say too specifically. But I mean, another thing that comes to my mind is like stereotypes. Of course, it's common thought to assume the worst about stereotypes, that they are wrong. But I mean, just the word stereotype, I think has a negative connotation. It's like a bad word. It just means it's something wrong. But like the way it came to be was through observation, through study, through reaction. It was input received, and then there was a reaction. And at least, if nothing else, one of the reactions was a label was formed for the purpose of identification. So that when I see this, I know that I must do that. The problem is that stereotypes not only offend, but they put people, I could say things, but I guess in this case, they put people inside of boxes that are not always fair. I am hesitant to give an example, because like, somebody's skin color does not mean anything. Like, I mean, it means something, like it has some sort of cause and effect. I mean, it's a certain color for a reason, but it does not necessarily mean what you may think it means. Like you may think that to have a certain skin color is to be a crime, to be a criminal automatically, but that's not necessarily the case. So to think of, like I said in the last one, to think that, well, he's a criminal, so therefore he must be a bad person. Not necessarily. Um, he has dreads, so therefore 420 must be his favorite holiday. Nah. um, but yeah, I was just thinking about associations, and it's a double. Associations are a double-edged sword. They serve a purpose. They are necessary. I think by correlating, by associating one thing with another, I think it helps like skip certain spaces. Like maybe by associating one thing with another, it's like building a highway and skipping all the streetlights. It's like when it comes to understanding and there needing to be proper reaction to any given understanding. The path towards understanding may be each intersection, each street light is a critical point in understanding. So you must come to each stoplight to get to the destination, which is the understanding. But if you have associations, then you could just jump on the freeway and you can go at a faster speed and you can skip all of the streetlights and you can get to the destination, or you can get to the understanding so that therefore you can do what you need to do from there. I mean, so it's tricky. I don't really know too specifically where to go with this video because it's just kind of, I'm just kind of winging it. But thinking about, it's like curse words, right? Like, I'm not gonna cuss because I'm new to YouTube and I don't know the rules. But the S word sound like a kindergartner or an elementary student. The F word, the B word, the C word. I think those terms have been traditionally associated with bad for so long that just saying those words has been deemed inappropriate and unnecessary, strictly because of its association to its tradition. But the tradition has not been articulated up to the point, in my view, to see that strictly because of its association with negativity, it is not necessarily a bad thing to say. Like to me, it's like vanity. As far as I understand vanity to be, vanity was a bad thing because it was surface level, it was without meaning. So I guess, and I'm just guessing here, I'm guessing that at some point in human history, we associated beauty with vanity and vanity with senselessness or purposelessness or meaninglessness or uselessness. And so therefore it was a bad thing. But in biology, beauty serves a purpose, at least as far as reproduction goes. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, at least if used in proper context. So with the curse words, so long as the curse words have a definition, they mean something. They communicate an understanding to help and can be used for articulation. Then I don't feel that they should be censored. Like it shouldn't just be bad just to say the F word. Now, many people can argue me on this point. And if nothing else, it comes down to preference and what you think. And when you're in your house, it's your rules. And when it's your space, I'm respecting how you feel. So I'm going to follow your rules. But like in my house, cuss words don't matter to me. You can say whatever you want. What needs to be censored is maybe more private things, maybe more personal things, maybe more hurtful things, things like, you know, the purpose of censorship is to prevent corruption, I believe. So an example of that would be to censor my debit card information from the general public because it would jeopardize, it would compromise my finances. Not that they're much to brag about, but so you would censor that maybe to help keep some sort of harmony or some order. And I also think, I'm growing to think, though I've cursed in a few of my videos already, that I used to hear people say, curse words are for people who lack intelligence. Now, that sounds like a harsh way to say it, but on some level, I agree. It's kind of like, it's not that the person necessarily is unintelligent, but that there's a better way, a more efficient way to communicate, and that is with a more expansive lexicon, to really help communicate and portray the way that you're thinking. I mean, much of that has to do with, much of that is relative to the education level and the intelligence level of the person that you're speaking to, the people that you're speaking to. And I'm gonna try to make this video short here soon, but it's like a close friend of mine said, when he cusses, he feels like he's getting his point across better. Not only that, he didn't say this part that I'm about to say, but not only that, but when you curse with a certain attitude, with a certain tone in your voice, like that effing thing, you just feel like it gets your point across. But to one person, you might yell that to a kid or somebody who's afraid of you, and they're gonna react in fear. And so therefore, you feel like you've communicated your point, you've communicated your feelings, and maybe, but at least as far as it goes, when communicating to another intellectual, I think it's far more useful to find a proper word, the proper term that represents the abstract idea so that there can be no misunderstanding, so that your message can be efficiently communicated. With that being said, my video is almost 11 and a half minutes. So associations, censorship, don't know what to call it, but I hope you appreciated it.